a lot of people are still stuck in, quote unquote, the American dream or what other people tell them they should do. And now there's people with lots of money and the house and the family and, the dog and the white picket fence, and they're not happy. And ultimately, what's the point of life if you're not enjoying it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we want to dive in. And today, we want to talk about happiness is a choice and how you can make that choice.
Welcome to Modern Happiness, where we believe happiness is a choice. Our goal is to share how we and our high-performing guests choose happiness, covering topics such as fitness, mindset, relationships, business, and much more in today's world. Here are your hosts, Matt Mahalik and Taylor Sleaford.
Taylor,
So
starting a podcast,
Let's
baby.
go, baby.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Modern Happiness Podcast. I am your co-host, Matt Mahalik. Sitting in front of me is...
Taylor Sleaford. What's going on, guys? Happy to be here.
So happy to be here, Taylor. I've been needing a podcast in my life. If you follow me on Instagram, anyone watching, listening, man, I write some serious copy, and I'm always over the character limit. I got a lot to say, and I want to share that with people, and I believe it's good stuff. And
You have a lot to say.
I have a lot to say. Can you believe it?
Say it ain't so. Oh my God.
So I'm very excited to have this long form channel to kind of chat and talk about things we've learned and we're learning along this beautiful journey we call life.
Yeah, and it's so cool. We have this common bond of loving podcasts, listening to podcasts. We both wanted to start one for a long time, and the stars have just aligned. I think back to college is when I really got into podcasts, and they just inspired me. They motivated me. I learned, and it led me to do things, take action, and really impact my life. And that's what I want to do for other people. And interestingly enough, I wrote down in May of 2019 that I started a podcast. And the timing just hasn't been right until now. It's not something I wanted to force. I wanted it to be the right thing. And here we are. So I'm super pumped to get started.
Yeah, super pumped, man. Spot on. I'm a big podcast guy. I think it's helped me grow tremendously from when I was a personal trainer, listening to fitness podcasts, to now business focused podcasts. And even when those people have guests on, they talk about mindset or happiness or whatever it might be. I feel like every time I get in the car and I'm listening to podcasts, I'm accumulating those hours of knowledge. I'm just, getting my own masters in a topic that whatever I want it to be. And it's free.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting about all that is we actually almost started this podcast August, September-ish of 2020. It is now 2021, and things just kind of came up. It wasn't the right timing. We actually had recorded an intro episode. We had done one interview, and we had a theme, and we were really excited for it. And then we kind of just didn't force it. We let things work out because we wanted it to be the right podcast and the right reason and be in the right headspace to do it. And it is absolutely wild in the past month how things have just aligned. And which is why I'm really excited to start this episode and tell you guys about the name of Modern Happiness and how that started. So Matt, how did we come up with Modern Happiness?
Well, it wasn't easy, let's just say that. But when we came upon it, it was obvious. We kind of looked at each other and we're like, that's it. It's so obviously it. I think in the hundreds of thousands of years that humans have been on this planet, happiness hasn't changed a whole lot. And the reason why we call it modern happiness is that we are so inundated with videos and the news and memes even that are kind of influencing how we think, how we should feel, how we should act. And we believe that we need to take a step back from that and figure out what you truly believe. What makes you happy? What are your core beliefs and things like that? So we want to talk about how we're kind of navigating happiness in this modern day life. Again, taking a step back from the technology specifically. And I think that's so prevalent and dictates a lot of what we do. So taking a step back from that and what do we do? What do people in our life, what are high performers doing for them to live a happy life? And that's what we're here to talk about and to tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads us to this episode number 1, happiness is a choice. That's what we believe. We will dive into that. And that's where modern happiness is different, right? We have more accessibility to anything than at any point in the world, right? In history. Technology, you can fly across the world, you can do all these things, and a lot of people are still stuck in, quote unquote, the American dream or what other people tell them they should do. And now there's people with lots of money and the house and the family and the dog and the white picket fence, and they're not happy. And ultimately, what's the point of life if you're not enjoying it?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we want to dive in. And today we want to talk about happiness is a choice and how you can make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, let's talk about happiness. Like, what does that look like to you, Matt? And how do you think that could shift for different people if we were to define happiness?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I said with the whole definition of modern happiness. It's like, what makes you truly happy? When it gets down to it. Funny enough, I had a post today, and I had a tough time in December. Energy wasn't aligning, business things, personal stuff, whatever. All this, I was just kind of unhappy. And so I took a look back in my journal back in the summertime when I was super happy. I was like, what are the things that I was doing that was making me happy? And those were the things that I chose. So if it was reading a certain book, hanging out with community, being outside more, going on trail runs, hikes, all these things, it's like, oh my God, I haven't been doing that in December. I've been head down, focused on my business and focused on making money. And guess what? I wasn't happy. I was like really, just not in a great place. And when I looked back at my journal, I was like, oh, this is when I was happiest. Let's make that priority. Let's make community priority. Let's get outside some more. Let's play more sports because that's what I love to do. And in my post today, I was like, I am happier getting less work done if it means more time hanging out with my friends and laughing. Because if we're not happy, what is all this for? So it's different for everyone, happiness, but it's truly figuring out what that means to you, not what someone tells you on the internet, right?
That's so good. So yeah, it's interesting you brought up money. So that's kind of, big elephant in the room. It's something we need to survive. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs it. However, it's really just about value. So many people, and I used to be one of those people, have a poor relationship with money, and I used to not want to talk about it. And I used to have a poor relationship with sales, and it's like, no, we need money. And so it's not to say that like a lot of this conversation is not a good versus bad, right? And you mentioned you were like focused on making more money and growing your business. And there's actually a statistic that says on average, if you make more than $70,000 a year of income, there's a diminishing return on happiness, which basically goes to say that more money doesn't equal happiness. Now, that's not to say that, if you make six figures or you're a millionaire, you can't be happy, but you really got to prioritize like what's important. And what happens is a lot of people, they just chase this dream of more money, moving on in their career, all these things. And then 10 years pass by and they're like, for what? They don't have people to share it with. They're not doing anything that they enjoy. And so as you mentioned, we're not here to tell you what is going to make you happy. We want you to decide that and then make choices to go after that. And so I will say one of the biggest ways, if you're kind of lost and you're not really sure where to start when it comes to goals, the way that I teach goal setting is let's have a because statement. So many people write down what they want. I want a car, I want this job, I want to lose weight. Finish that statement with because. And spend some time thinking, why do you want that? And it's going to make it so much easier because like you said, you really realize like community, playing sports, those were important. And when you lost sight of why you're doing things, all of a sudden you weren't as happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to touch on that money thing because I think more as, we're evolving as a society in this modern time, more people are hearing that, yes, money is not going to make you happy. And I love it's that Jim Carrey quote. I actually pulled it up because I didn't want to mess it up. I was like, just in case I talk about it. And I knew I would. But he says, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed so that they can see it's not the answer. And I didn't fully understand that for a while. I understood the money thing, rich and famous, won't bring you happiness. But I was like, if you accomplish everything you've ever dreamed, don't you think you'd be happy? And when I realized, honestly, like a week or two ago, reflecting on this, that it all comes from within. And that's the point, right? What makes you happy? and be happy, be okay with yourself. Know that, yeah, you're going to have shitty days. Things aren't going to go as planned. But if you're okay with yourself, if you can sit with your emotions and be happy with it, not to say you won't struggle. And we'll talk about things that we do to kind of pull ourselves out of those ruts. But I love that quote because, yeah, sometimes you need to make the $1 million to realize, oh my God, I'm still not happy. Sometimes you need to, we talk a lot about this, that you've got to just try stuff. You even had the post, being ready is not a feeling, it's a choice, or it's a decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just have to make that choice to do something, go for it. Best case, you do that thing and you realize that's not it, but at least now I know. And now I'm probably a little bit closer to what will bring me happiness. And so yeah, sometimes it's making those decisions that let's go for the money,
Yeah.
so you can learn yourself that that's not it.
Yeah, it's funny. We've had a lot of conversations in the past couple of months with people, with friends, with family, especially 2020, reflecting on that. And, really this idea is, and you might get triggered here, and I encourage you just to lean in and hear what we have to say. But I'm going to preface this with 2020 has been tough. People have died, people have lost jobs, people have had financial struggles and not been able to see people or do things. And I understand that. There's a lot of people. However, there's a lot of people I know, and I'm super grateful. 2020 has been one of the best years of my life. And, I had a business fail, for example. So I have gone through some stuff. However, a lot of people, I start talking to them, and especially around the new year, and they say, oh, 2020 was the worst year. I ask more questions, and it's like they had a bad month. So then they wrote it off as a bad year. And this happens on a regular basis. How many times have you had one bad meeting at work, and then you're like, oh, that was a terrible day? Or you had a tough week, you got sick for a couple of days, and you're like, oh, that was a terrible week or a terrible month. And it's like, no, that was one moment. So really, what we want you guys to do is to step back and be like, okay, what is really true? Is everything? It's not an all or nothing. And that's the thing with happiness is we're not saying by happiness is a choice that it means that you won't ever be sad or you won't ever go through some stuff. So I'm curious, Matt. What have you always believed this? Happiness is a choice?
No, I never even really thought of it.
Okay.
It might have been you were the first one to even say it, and I was like, wow, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
But to answer this, I want to give an anecdote. And we've told a bunch of our friends this story, but we went to Winter Park here in Colorado to snowboard. We do our Thursdays is our snowboard day, and we go to Winter Park, and it hasn't snowed in a while. And we get up on the first run, and it's windy as hell, like 50-mile-an-hour winds, maybe more. We get up to the top. It's crazy windy. You're like, okay, let's get off the top and let's make our way down. Yeah. And as we go down,
walk out of the gondola and think I'm going to get blown off.
Yeah, it's like throwing your snowboard and getting, almost dragging you. And so we strap up. We start making our way down the mountain, and it is just a sheet of ice. It is like there's dirt in places. The wind is in our faces, and we can't even go fast downhill. We're squatting low and trying to go fast, and it's bitter, freezing cold. And what happens is we get on the lift, and I would say 3 years ago, probably 2 years ago even, I would have gotten on the lift and I'd be like, Taylor, this fucking sucks, dude. We took our day off Thursday to come up here to drive an hour and a half, 3-hour round trip, come to Winter Park to snowboard. This is our day off, and it's crappy conditions. This is terrible. That would have been 3 years ago. Today, without even convincing myself, think positive, man. It's okay. I don't even have to think that way anymore. Now we got on the lift, and I'm just smiling at you. I'm like, what a great day, man. The sun is out. It's windy. It's cold. Those conditions suck, but dude, we're out here, and we get our Thursdays off to snowboard. How freaking awesome is this? And we go down the next run, and it's crappy. And it actually was getting worse. We tried the other side of the mountain. It was colder. There was more dirt everywhere. And still, I was like, this is such a great day. We'll end early. We'll go to a coffee shop. We'll work a little bit. We'll have a beer. What a great day. And yeah, to answer your question, no, 3 years ago, No, it would have been, the day's shot. This sucks. And through these past, we'll call it maybe even a year and a half, just been working to remind myself, like, this is good. This is good. This is good. Oh, I get cut off when I'm driving, on the highway. Instead of screaming at the person, now my natural reaction is, that's okay. I'm sure they're in a hurry.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen overnight. And I don't know how well I'm answering the question, but I think those anecdotes are just like, it's just like the reminder that, like, getting upset is not going to help. And in fact, the negativity brings on more negativity.
Yeah.
And you had this great quote the other day that I think you learned from Joe Dispenza, and you can say it in a second, but if you just keep sitting in that negative mindset, what's going to happen? More negativity comes. Whereas if, again, I'm not trying to trick myself, but the brain, like the muscles, like, it can be worked, it can be changed, it's plastic.
Yeah.
So we can train ourselves to, now my immediate reaction is happiness. And I'm just happier for it, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What if I tell you I don't want you to think about the pink elephant in the room? What are you thinking about?
I just thought of a pink elephant. Not very big, but it was pink and it was an elephant.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is mindset work. This is getting the reps in. So if all you're focused on is the negative or what you don't want to happen, like, that's all you're going to focus on. And your life, that's why it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. And the point is not that we forget about, the things that are going on and we just, like, are blind to struggles in our life. It's that even when things are tough, like a tough day snowboarding, or maybe you're going through a breakup, or, all of a sudden you lose a client. I mean, Matt and I have been there, and, you can just sit with it and be miserable and then just be stuck in that. Or you can make a choice like, okay, what can I do to move forward? What can I do to feel better? And so that Joe Dispenza quote. So, essentially what happens is if we, any emotion in the body, happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, there's a response, a chemical response where hormones are released. And in most people, it lasts about 3 to 5 minutes, right? So if you're feeling sad, something happens and you're feeling sad, that chemical response lasts about 3 to 5 minutes. And then, the chemicals start moving out of your body. So if you continue to feel that over and over, so 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, a day, a week, you are re-triggering that response by either constantly thinking about it, constantly sitting with it, moping around. And the whole point is, we're not telling you to ignore those feelings, sit with those feelings. In fact, this is one of the biggest things I've been learning lately is sit with it, but limit how long you sit with it. So maybe it's set a timer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that could be making a choice to, okay, I'm going to go out with friends because I'm feeling lonely. Or, that could be just going to do something that's fun.
Yeah.
That makes you happy. Listening to your favorite song, going for a bike ride, getting outside, going for a walk. And that's the point we're making of happiness as a choice is we're not going to just ignore the tough things, but we're going to make a decision because at the end of the day, where do you want to be tomorrow? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? And it's all in your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spot on. Yeah, it's sitting with it. It's feeling it. Cry if you need to cry.
Yeah.
Take the hour to cry and punch the pillow, scream into a pillow. We were talking about this with some friends the other night. Go to the Smash room and break some TVs and plates. It feels good to get that release. Cool. Once you've done that, all right, now what can I do to, bring myself to my higher self? And yeah, speaking of, dude, like I'm fucking all jacked up right now. I got the jitters going. We're starting a podcast, man. I'm all excited. I got to get up and shake it out. But sorry. Okay, I'm back. We're back.
Guys, this is normal, by the way. Matt just got up out of his chair and jumped around. If you don't know him already, big high energy guy. We're a good yin and yang. I can have my energy, but we balance each other out.
Yeah, I've had like 3 sips of coffee. I think I'm all set on the coffee now. But yeah, I mean, dude, everything you said, man, it's hard I think, to address this when, everybody wants to go, toxic positivity. Oh my God, you're like getting on my shit about this. I'm like, no, listen, I have had bad days.
Yeah.
I had a bad month, and Taylor and I are best friends, and I send him some voice messages, on our phones. And I'm like, dude, I said this to you the other day. I was like, I was having a down day.
Mm-hmm.
I got home and I was literally sitting on my floor. I lit a candle, sitting there and I was just taking some breaths. And then I messaged you and I was like, I actually sent you a video this time. And I was like, Taylor, I was like, I feel good yesterday. Then today happens and then I feel like shit. I'm like, can I just have a month where I feel great the whole month? Like, or maybe, a year. Can we just feel great the whole year? Like, wouldn't that be awesome? So it's not to say you can't feel crappy, but I would say ultimately, and we'll get into this later, things that we do ourselves to choose happiness. It's leaning into those things. And it's like, cool, acknowledging how I feel, and I don't want to feel this way. So let me do the things that lift me up, that make me happy. Because I don't want to be sad, man. I want to feel better. And the more I've done this, like I said with the snowboard thing, the more it just becomes like I am just happier. Less and less things bother me.
Yeah. Well, and I love so many things that you brought up. First of all, full transparency. Like Matt and I go through shit all the time.
Yeah.
But we have each other, and that's why I would say, the biggest thing is they say you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if that group of people is not supportive, inspiring, pushing you, trusting, then find a new circle. Because there's another quote that says, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Meaning, if that group is not supportive to where you want to be next year, next month, then find a new group of people. And Matt and I send audio messages all day, every day. And that's the thing. I fully know when I'm struggling with something, when I'm like hung up on a girl after a relationship ends and I'm super bummed out, and not thinking clearly, I know I can just say whatever I'm feeling, tell Matt there's going to be no judgment. And that's part of the process of going through that. And I'm doing that because that's going to help me get through it rather than bottling up these feelings. And then I'm also going to go ride my skateboard because I can't help but feel like a 12-year-old kid with full freedom when I'm riding my skateboard, about to fall. And that's the whole point. So we're not saying ignore it, and we're not saying that our life is perfect, which is why I love that you brought up toxic positivity. I really believe we need to address this because, Matt, you actually made a post recently about that, and I think that this is why this is a better forum to talk about it, because it's hard to just explain. And first, I'll just kind of give my thoughts on that, where, I don't know, man, it's 2020, you got to be politically correct about everything. And we're not going to dive into politics, but it's like, actually, we had a conversation with a good friend of ours, Savvy Rose, who's going to be on we're going to interview her on a podcast, and she had talked about, some friends who, it's like now you have to, like, people are like, oh, if you're feeling depressed, like, okay, feel depressed. Like, it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, people are like, oh, I'm sad. Like, and it's people are really against, or now the fact that there's a term toxic positivity is a little wild to me, where they're like, no, it's okay to, like, be upset. Like, let them be upset. And I've seen people even, there's like good vibes only, like a hashtag. And people are like, no, it's okay to have bad vibes. And it's like, well, here's the thing. Yes, you can feel these feelings, but like, if you just keep feeling that way, if you just keep embracing it and don't make any changes, you're going to be like that long term. And, you and I both use social media a lot for our business and to promote our brand. And for me, I choose to promote positivity. So I think sometimes people may look at my Instagram as like a highlight reel. I'm snowboarding on a Thursday, life's going good, I'm working out, I'm getting my coffee, and it's always great. And that's because that's what I want to promote. There's enough bad in the world, if you will. Like, I don't need to get on there and tell people, oh, I'm struggling with this, oh, I'm going through that, because I have my close group of friends to do that. And that's my choice, because I want to promote more of that, because I don't think there is enough of it. And for some reason, people have coined this term toxic positivity. So Matt, I'm curious your thoughts on that, how you look at it.
Can you just come and stop my brain, because I'm all over the place right now on this. I believe that, right? I made the post. You should be a highlight reel on Instagram. You should be. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking to my niche. I'm speaking to personal trainers. This is who I coach, because they're running a business, and people work with people that they love, that they trust and they like and they have fun with. Not like, oh, this person's, on here crying all day. Like, you're running a business. So, when I made that post, that's who I'm talking to specifically. And also, like we just said, yes, you can feel sad and all this stuff, but it's all about energy. And without going too deep into the universe, but everything broken down is just energy, waves of energy and packets of information. That's all we are. And our human body just experiences this table as hard. But really, it's just information, energy. And so are you, and so is everything. And what you put out, you get. And so I want more positivity in my life. I deal with my own shit all the time. I'm sad enough. I have hard times just like all of us. I don't want more of that in my life. So by going on Instagram and saying, I'm sad today, and then you all go, thanks for sharing. And then now I'm getting reinforced that, ooh, I shared sadness and people are liking this.
Yeah.
What's going to happen then? I'm going to post more sad shit.
Whether it's consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah. So I would rather be a leader. And I think you can talk about hard times. My post today, actually, what is it? January 17th, if you want to look at that. My headline was, I had a bad December.
Yeah.
But I told you what I did to get out of that bad time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's showing up as a leader. And I don't want to become, and you can call that a highlight reel, whatever you want, but that, again, I'll say it how many times you want me to say it. Showing up as a leader. Being
you say it one more time?
Yeah, show up as a leader.
Boom.
What is a leader? Showing up with positivity as someone who, yes, we go through hard times, but here's what I'm doing to get out of it. And it's going back to the energy thing. The saying, oh man, the tension is so thick in this room, I could cut it with a knife. That is there's a reason for that saying. And that's the energy in the room. People just fought, two people fought. And then you walk in the room and you're like, whoa, what is going on in here? You could just feel it. So why not put out good energy? And there's a lot of science behind this too. And kind of like your aura, maybe I'm not using the right word, but you have this energy field around you. And when you are positive, people pick up on that.
Yeah.
And you inspire more people to, I think, live a better life. The more kind of joy you can show, rather than, again, going back to that negativity where it's like, that's harmful to you and it's harmful to everyone else.
Yeah. And and here's the thing. It's a hard knock life out there, right? I think, are not taught a lot of things that we should be about living our lives, middle school, high school, maybe even college. And the thing is, I think everyone can agree with this, is, life is going to happen and tough things are going to happen and it's not always going to go your way. So what are you going to do when that happens, right? And who do you want to be? And the point is, it's up to you. Like I talk to a lot of people who are just like sitting and waiting for their purpose in life to come, or the job to come, or the girl to come. And it's like, none of that's going to happen. You have to go out there and create your own reality. And the same is true. People have probably heard this where it's like, oh, I'm having trouble being in a relationship. And it's like, they're so focused on the type of person they want that they're not changing themselves. And it's like, does your soulmate, if you met them tomorrow, would they even want to be with you? The type of person that you are? Ask yourself that. And so that's where this happiness is a choice, is like, showing up. And again, all these things are contagious. Happiness is contagious. And so the thing is, by choosing this, by choosing to be happy, by choosing to be positive, while it may seem annoying, some people that are around us who aren't quite ready for that. The thing is it's way more enjoyable to be around people who have a growth mindset, focusing on the good rather than just like someone who's always down. So, kind of moving on into the next topic, I would say, Matt, how can someone shift? What are some tips that you have so I'll just preface this too, here's the point. This is not going to happen overnight. Matt and I have been doing this for a long time, and it's a muscle. Choosing happiness, choosing anything in life is a muscle, and focusing on the good. And you got to flex it, just like if you go to the gym and lift weights, right? So it's every day making choices to do that. And then it becomes automatic, just like that day we were snowboarding. We're like, this is the best day of the year. This is incredible. I'm having so much fun. And I'm about to fly off this mountain, So what are some tangible ways, if there's someone listening who is maybe not there yet, but they do want to make a change?
Yeah. Also, today's the best day of the year.
It's true.
And guess what? Tomorrow's going to be the best day of the year.
January 17th.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's hard. It's hard. It's so much easier to, when you are feeling sad, to numb it with Netflix, scrolling, getting those dopamine hits, alcohol, weed, porn, any of this stuff, sugar, binging on whatever, the ice cream. Did I say that already? It's easier to do that. And it takes more work to, smile, because that changes the chemistry. It takes more work to reach out to a friend and go, I'm feeling like crap, and I know when I do, if I'm feeling like crap and I reach out to you, Taylor, and I go, I'm feeling like crap, I'm like, I already know what Taylor's going to say. He's going to say something inspiring and lift me up. And it's so much easier to go, I don't want to reach out to a friend because they're just going to try and cheer me up and like, fuck off. I just want to feel sad.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, where to even start? I think it's being more conscious.
Yeah.
Being able to sit with your thoughts.
Awareness, I would say, for everything.
Awareness, yeah. Yeah. So again, like we said, Taylor said, sit with it, feel it. Instead of numbing it with scrolling, before you grab your phone, before you turn Netflix on, before you grab the pint of ice cream, just before that, I just want you to ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you feel sad and you find yourself going towards something like that, why? Are you distracting yourself from how you're feeling? Let's take a second. Let's sit with it. Let's breathe. And then, I know you want to say this and I don't want to steal it, but then let's show some gratitude. What is great in your life right now?
Yeah.
And again, that's the muscle. It's hard to do that when you're feeling like crap. But that's the muscle you can train yourself to go, I'm grateful for this pencil. I love my pencil. I love my mechanical pencil. It could be something as simple as that. Or I am grateful for, my mom and dad, my brother. I am grateful for Taylor. I'm grateful for this beautiful blue sky out today. So kind of the hand in hand, being more grateful and then being more conscious, being more aware and sitting with it and then being like, I don't know, is it that bad?
Yeah.
Because usually it's not.
Dude, and that's the thing. That's, what I said earlier is like, everyone should ask themselves that question. Did I really have a bad day? Or no, there was 5 minutes where I spilled my coffee and I was late for work. Was that really a bad day?
Yeah.
And you're spot on. Gratitude, there's tons of research to show that gratitude actually makes people happier. It will, and the reason is because it's actually a perception. It's not actually that all of a sudden your life is better. You're just aware of how good your life actually is.
Yeah.
Because it's what you're focusing on. And
it's not a trick.
Yeah.
We're not tricking ourselves.
No. And yeah, so gratitude, I would definitely agree with the same thing. So here's what I'll say, and this is what Matt and I do, and this is what I teach a lot of clients, is I challenge you to say these 3 words the next time something doesn't go as planned. Goody, goody, gumdrops. Yeah, how silly does that sound? You can't help but smile. And so here's the thing. The next time you spill your coffee or all of a sudden you need to print something and you're out of ink or you're running late for a meeting or you get pulled over or anything happens, say goody, goody, gumdrops out loud. And I guarantee you're going to have a smile. And it's going to help you pause and realize like, okay, this isn't the worst thing. Instead of just having that emotional triggered response, you can pause and reflect. And so now, Matt, I do this to Matt, our good friend Billy, like we'll send messages and it's so funny because like even me, I will be like, send a message, I'm like, oh my God, this happened and goody, goody, gumdrops. What a great opportunity to fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And at first, you're kind of annoyed and you're probably going to feel that way. And then the more you do it, all of a sudden you realize like, okay, this is an opportunity for everything. And examples that we've used before is like, okay, maybe you get a flat tire. And as frustrating as that is, well, maybe that prevented you from getting in an accident 2 miles down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say. And then...
Or maybe it's setting you up for success later. Let's go with the flat tire. You didn't know how to change a flat tire before. Now you're on the side of the road and you had to learn and you did it. And then maybe a year from now, something happens. You're in a terrible snowstorm, something, whatever, I got this, guys. I can change the tire. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to throw that anecdote out there. It's not always, what is this, why is this good right now? But what could this be teaching me for the future?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like that's the whole thing. It all comes down to mindset, really. Everything in life. And this is why we started this podcast and Modern Happiness. And our goal is to share with you the things that we have done in our lives to live happier lives. Like, I'm living the dream. I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm literally living the dream. Like,
yes, you do. I'm living the dream, and you know it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. People always say that. I think there was a meme our buddy Billy sent us the other day, or a video, and it's like typical stuff. And I coach at a CrossFit gym, and people come and be like, oh, I'll be like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, oh, good. And
how about you?
Yeah, they'll say, how about you? And I was like, I'm living the dream. And one person, I remember, they were like, you always say that. And I was like, oh, people probably just think I'm like just being funny. And I'm like, no, literally. And here's the thing, I could get more accurate. I'm living my dream. And that's the whole point. Yeah. Because a lot of you probably don't want my life. And that's cool. And that's not the point. We want you to live your dream. And everything that I'm doing is, I'm so happy because I'm living where I want. I have freedom, I have flexibility. I'm doing work that matters. And so I'm making these choices to get there. And that's really the point, is we want to help you guys be happier, meaning, okay, first up, what is happiness to you? What are the things that are important? What do you value? And then, ultimately, what steps do you need to do to get there? So you can ask yourself, when life is going well or bad, is this choice going to move me to where I want to go? Is this going to get me closer to the life that I want to live? And ultimately, that's why we're going to interview people who are living their best lives and have connected with their higher selves. Is what are they doing? And our goal is to hopefully give you tips that you can implement in your life.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, that was awesome. I think if you were gonna, our goal here is to help you, right? And I think if we were to end this episode and say, what can you do right now? I would take time and sit with that question. What is happiness to you? And when were you happiest? What was happening? Who were you with? Yeah. What were you doing? Who were you with? Were you eating something? Were you, what was it? When were you happiest? And that's kind of how I started this podcast, right? Where I wasn't happy in December. So what was I doing in the summer when I was happy? What was I doing? Community, getting outside more. But okay, let's do more of that. Even in winter, even in January, let's make sure I get my walks in, my 10,000 steps. Let's make sure I'm putting an effort into seeing my friends more. Like, I know COVID, quarantine, blah, 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 but like coffee shops are open. Guys, we can have our table and co-work together. And we did that. And you know what happened, man? This is a true anecdote, right? I mentioned I wasn't happy in December. When was I happiest? Community. That was the big thing, community. So we've been more intentional about, hey guys, we're co-working on Tuesday. And then we did that. We put the intention out there. We had 3 other friends come up, so it's 5 of us. And I'm sitting on my computer and I'm like bouncing like a little baby in the rocker or whatever, bounce up and down. I can't even focus on my work. There's good music on at the coffee shop. And I was so happy. I'm like, again, I don't even care if I get work done. I love being around you guys. This is filling me up so much. And now that I know that, now that I'm aware of that, I can do more of that. And I will put the intention to do more of that. So again, journal on it. If you're not really sure, figure out those 2 things, what makes you happy and when were you most happiest? And see if you can incorporate more of that. And then see if you can incorporate more of that in your life.
Implement it. So at the end of the day, guys, we believe happiness is a choice, and it doesn't mean bad things won't happen or we won't struggle. However, the more you make those choices, 1, you're going to be more resilient. 2, the things that used to be a huge deal, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's fine. I can handle it. And you're always going to have peaks and valleys, but the more choices you make, the less time you're going to spend in the valleys, the more time you're going to spend on the peaks. So thanks for joining us, guys. This has been incredible. Spend some time, reflect. What makes you happy? Go do those things. And always you can reach out to us if we can help you in any way.
Oh, I'd be so happy to do that. If you want to, let's do it, Taylor. Where can we find us? DM us, guys. It's going to be Instagram. I'll tell you right now. DM us. Ask us questions. We're happy to have a conversation. I'm happy to be a light in anyone's life. I'll be here to support your wins, because lifting you up, whoever you are, you listeners, lifting you up also fills my cup, makes me happy. I am very extroverted. I love talking to people. So I'll lift you up. You lift me up. It's a win-win for everyone. And so you can find me on Instagram at Matthew.Allyn, Allyn. Taylor?
Find me also on Instagram, Taylor_Sleaford, SLEAFORD. We would love to be a part of this journey with you guys. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you coming to the next one.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Hey everybody, before you move on, we have exciting news. We are hosting a giveaway for the first 10 episodes. So if you go to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and let us know how much you love our podcast, you will be entered in to win a $150 Amazon gift card. It goes such a long way if you take the 30 seconds and leave us a 5-star review. We will shout you out on the podcast and of course be forever grateful for your support. So head to iTunes and leave that 5-star review to win a $150 Amazon gift card. And if you really, really love Taylor and I, and you know someone else who would love our message, then please pass this along to them. It would mean the world to us if you help us get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as possible by subscribing and sharing your biggest takeaway on social media. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, we hope you are choosing your happiness.